everybody. Welcome to today's podcast episode, which is called Getting Found in the Age of ChatGPT and How Therapists Can Stay Visible. So, if you are somebody that regularly listens to my podcast, well, first of all, thanks so much that I'm not just talking to myself. It's always lovely to get feedback and know that other people are listening in and finding benefit from the podcast. So, thank you for tuning in. And I'm hoping that in today's topic of conversation, I'm not going to make you tune out and leave me because we're talking about ChatGPT. And you've maybe noticed in the last a few episodes I've done recently, I've kind of talked about the age of ChatGPT, how it's becoming more common, and different ways in which we can use ChatGPT in our private practice. I have been doing a lot of reflecting lately. In the counselling Facebook groups, there's been so many conversations and so many debates recently about ChatGPT and therapists' concerns. Number one, about their own jobs, and that potentially people are going to start using AI therapists and AI bots to replace them and that they're not going to be needed anymore. And also then about the ethical concerns. We've had those horror stories that I'm sure you've maybe seen in the press about in America, where people have very sadly taken their own life, and due to the bias around ChatGPT and AI tools, that it's not been flagged, and unfortunately there's been very sad outcomes to some cases over there. So we know that there are those concerns about how clients might be using platforms like ChatGPT. We know there's concerns about the potential of AI bots and AI therapist bots coming out. We can just hope that these things are going to be very strongly regulated and managed. But that's not what this conversation is about. And sort of this is only my opinion and my thoughts on it. But ChatGPT for me has literally been life-changing. And I know that that sounds so dramatic, but it really has been. I've been using it now probably for about 18 months. When I first started using it, I didn't really have a clue what I was doing. So I was doing the kind of the standard, write me a post about this and then just copying and pasting. And it was really American sounding, really naff content. But I've spent the last 18 months really learning how to use ChatGPT more effectively. When I say life-changing, I mean just in terms of how it supports me and my ADHD brain and the 50 tabs open all at once and new business idea every day type thing that tends to go on in my brain, that it has just helped me to organize my thoughts much more. It has helped me with admin. It's helped me with doing things like blog writing that ordinarily my brain would just want to completely avoid, or I could spend like a whole day just writing a blog, that these tools are now helping me to do things in a fraction of the time. And I've been really hesitant in Facebook groups when I see lots of debates and conversations going on about ChatGPT. I've been really hesitant to get involved or express my point of view. And I've had a bit of a pivotal moment, I think, in the last kind of week or two. And I'm like, I know that this is polarizing people's views on ChatGPT and AI. I totally get it. But for me, actually, I focus on the benefits of it. I focus on how it helps me on a day-to-day basis. And I am very, very passionate about helping clients to work through barriers and blocks that they have around their marketing and in private practice. And ChatGPT, not an easy thing to say, is it? They really need to change a different acronym or something that's just a bit easier. Just GPT, that would be easier. Or just chat, that would be easier. The two together just doesn't work. So anyway, as I was saying, that I'm really passionate about helping therapists to do things in a quicker and a more efficient way and to get out of their own way. And to me, this is a tool that can massively, massively help with it. So I'm hoping at this point, I don't have lots of people now switching off and disconnecting in objection. I totally get that there's people out there that don't want to engage in conversations about ChatGPT because of ethical concerns or because of environmental concerns. But for me, this is something that is a very separate thing that I'm looking at and how I use it. I understand those concerns are there, but for me, this is more of a life and a business admin, how it supports me literally on a day-to-day basis. So that's what I'm going to be talking about a little bit about today is the fact that how people might be searching for a therapist, just like you, is changing and evolving. So for me, like personally, so I have a paid plan on ChatGPT. I will now use chat. I'm just going to say chat. I can't be bothered trying to say the full thing. I will now use chat to search for everyday things that previously perhaps I would have gone to Google for. The reason I do that is that when I put a search into chat, that if I'm looking for, say, a recommendation of a restaurant or a product or a service or something like that, that if I put it into chat, it will do a very, very broad search and then it'll pull the results all in back into chat in one location. Whereas if I do that in Google, it might throw up pages and pages of different options, and then I still have to decipher and scroll through and pick the different options. So now I use, just in my own life, things like meal planning, recipe ideas, like everything I do through chat. And if I'm looking for a recommendation of a local service or a business or something like that, I do that now through chat. So I know that if I'm doing that it isn't going to be too long before clients are doing that to look for therapists. And we already know that it's happening because there was a thread in the Facebook group in one of the counselling groups the other day, and it was somebody saying, I've just had a client reach out to me to say that ChatGPT recommended me. And then other people started coming into the thread and going, me too, me too, me too. So it's already happening. So if it's already happening, regardless of what you think or what you feel about chat, it's good to be aware of this because your clients are going to be using it and that there is a potential shift in how they might find you. And are there things that we can do to help us be easier to find using a search through AI? So traditionally, perhaps if people were coming and reaching out to you, that they would do maybe a Google search. And through a Google search, either that one of the directories is going to come up tops and they're going to find you and come to you through the directories. Or if you have a really good SEO optimized website, really good keywords, a really good quality website, it might be that somebody does a search engine for a specific type of therapist or a specific niche, and that your website would come up and then a client would get in contact with you directly. That is still really important. So it's still really important to have a really good keyword optimized website because that's still very much a credible source. But when it comes to an AI search, so if a client, for example, is putting a search into ChatGPT to say that they're looking for a specific type of therapist, that what chat will do is a very, very broad search that it still will look at things like your website. It will still look at things like directories, but it will also expand beyond that. And it will look for credible sources and credible sources for real professionals where there is trustworthy information. So ChatGPT will look at platforms such as LinkedIn, for example, that it's going to pull from. One of the things that I did hear on a podcast recently is that it will trail and look at things like Reddit, which never would have occurred to me before. It will look at things like conversations that are coming up where people are really asking questions, looking for advice, opinions on things. And it will trawl then Reddit conversations because remember, what it's looking for is real people who are searching for help or searching for topics of conversations, and that there's real answers kind of being given there. So Reddit is a key thing that ChatGPT will trail through. Now, it's really difficult for you as a therapist. You can't just go on Reddit and post your services on Reddit because they don't allow self-promotion. You'd get deleted and you'd get banned from there. But if there was people asking questions about your specific niche area and you were answering questions, or if someone else recommended you on Reddit, or somebody posted your blog on Reddit and said, this is a really interesting blog about this topic, that things like that potentially could be beneficial for you and AI search. So I'm going to run through 5 steps that you can think about to support you with a chat search and being recommended. And this is something I did a little incognito test on this for myself recently. So I went into Google, opened incognito window. So you go to the 3 little dots in Google, the top right hand side, down into incognito and I logged in. I created a free ChatGPT account that was brand new, so it didn't have any of my history or anything in it. And I asked for recommendation of an eating disorder therapist in Northern Ireland and was really delighted to see that I actually came out at number one as recommendation. And I'm pretty confident that that is because of all of the work I have done around my website. And I've got a really great SEO, a really great Google business profile that's optimized and comes out number one as well. So I'm confident that those are the things that really helped. But I am going to go and do some more further work based around some of these recommendations that I'm going to give to you to really help even improve that further for the AI search. So step number one is be really, really clear about your niche. You'll have heard this from me a million times. This isn't new information for you. So having a niche is super important. And when you're writing to your client on all of your content, you really want to keep your language consistent. And we want to use plain language. I don't know how often I say this. Simple, plain language, as if you are literally explaining it to a young child, a teenager, something like that, that it's keeping the language really, really simple in a way that everybody can understand. None of our therapeutic jargon. We don't want that. We want it to appear like almost very conversational in how we write across our platforms as well. Number two, you really want to strengthen your online footprint as much as you possibly can. So you want to thinking about like, where are all the places that I can be listed that are credible and that contain links to my website that all lead back to my website. So I posted a little tip inside a few of the accounts and Facebook groups the other day. And this was about looking at things like, yes, you have a website, you have a Google business listing, and you have a directory profile, but also explore and look at, are there other places, ideally maybe free places, directories that you can be listed on that are credible. So for me as an eating disorder therapist, it actually brought up Beat Eating Disorders. I didn't realize it has a free practitioner listing. So I've applied to appear on there. It's a really credible site. It suggested another one called Hub of Hope. I've registered, I'm on there. And then looking at things like that often get forgotten about, like Bing listing is something that you can register on for free. And also things like Yale listings as well. So you're trying to think about all these places potentially that you could be registered on. LinkedIn is another one. Or thinking about things like, could you write guest blogs or guest articles? So for the likes of Counselling Directory or other really reputable organizations or websites, could you offer to write guest articles about your area of expertise to appear on their website? So if they have a really good, popular, credible website, that will also really help. So you're trying to think about like that you've got these multiple proof points all around these different locations that when AI is doing this big, wide kind of search and scope, that your information is coming in there. Number three, which is super important, is write for humans first. You know, I am a huge, huge fan of using chat to help support with content creation. However, I have spent a really long time uploading all of my transcripts, my training, and really tweaking chat to be very much aligned with me and how I speak and how I talk. And I will still go back after it creates content. I'll still go back and edit it. And if there's things in there that I think I would not say that, then I'll edit it and change it. I don't get it right all the time, especially if I'm in a rush to get something out. But for the most part, I am always making sure that it's very much aligned. What I'm putting out is aligned with me and what I would be saying. So we think human first approach to using AI, and in all of your content across all of your platforms, that you're really trying to answer common client questions on your website. So what would be the type of things that potentially your ideal client might be putting in? So my area of binge eating, it might be, why can't I stop overeating at night, for example? That my ideal client might be putting something like that into chat or into Google. So I will literally write something like that, either in a blog on my website or on the content that's on my website. I would have that perhaps even as a header. Why can't I stop eating at night? And then underneath, I would maybe have some sort of a little response to that. So you're using really conversational type content, content that really asks the common questions that your ideal client might be asking. Your content on your website should be really, really clear, really simple, and not text heavy. People are skim readers, and when AI is doing a bit of a search, it's doing that sort of skim, and it wants to see information that is really easy to pick up, to understand and read. So things like concise paragraphs are really helpful. Things like bullet points, little bullet points, are really helpful as well. I did an open house week recently, and the whole focus for that week was about websites and getting your websites really to a place that are client friendly. And probably the biggest bit of feedback that I gave to all people that were on that event is there's too much text on your website. It's too heavy. People will not sit and read through this. So we want to simplify everything that's on your website. Simplify the language, use clear headings, use short paragraphs, use bullet points, avoid jargon completely, and that it's just very clear, easy to read, easy to understand language that you're using. Number 4 then is to keep your profiles tidy and updated. So don't just do something like it's one and done. So for your LinkedIn, for your Google business profile, like these are all things that you should be updating regularly so that these search engines can really see that it's still active and that it's still relevant. So like with Google business profile, I try and remember as much as I can. If I write a blog, for example, for my website, I'll then go into Google business profile and add a post in Google business profile with a little summary about the blog that I've written, and then a link to the blog so that it shows that there is fresh content being added to my Google business profile. If you do have a LinkedIn profile, you would really want to have a clear headline that's on your LinkedIn profile that really specifies your niche and your location as well. So you just want to make sure that these things don't look like they're being abandoned. So all of your directories, all of your website, your Google business profile, just make sure that you are refreshing them and checking them regularly. And then number 5, sort of leading on from what I've just said, is refresh and review things. So every few months, just try and keep a note in the diary to go in, because things might change and things might evolve. Like if your directory profile of your website is maybe still talking about COVID regulations, or you've still got FAQs to do with COVID or things like that on there, it's time to go in and give it a bit of an update. And perhaps since the last time you have done your website, that your niche may have evolved or changed a little bit. And so you want to go in and change that a little bit. So my niche has definitely evolved. And this is just as a bit of an example. And this is where, when we're thinking about from a marketing perspective, how do we stay on top of the fact that things are always changing and evolving? So for me and my niche of binge eating, definitely something that has come in and impacted my work is weight loss medications and things like Mounjaro. So for some ED therapists, they might just want to not engage with that or have very strong opinions about that. For me, it's if people are going to make a choice to take these medications, but they're also looking for therapeutic support, I'm absolutely not going to turn somebody away. So I pivoted and started writing blogs specifically to Mounjaro and binge eating, the relationship, the impact of what happens when you stop taking Mounjaro. And I created a whole new service specifically for GLP-1 users. So a lot of my blogs have been about GLP-1 users and about our relationship with food. And that has really increased and driven more traffic recently to my website. In the new year, I'm planning to evolve that even more. I'm fairly recently diagnosed ADHD. There's a very strong connection between ADHD and binge eating. And so I'm going to evolve and tweak and fine tune my messaging and my website even more to be ADHD and binge eating. So the more that we can kind of stay up to date with like changes in our understanding of things and changes within our niche, it's really important as well. That really helps you to stay current. So those are the 5 things that you can kind of have a think about for your own private practice, for your own websites and your digital footprint online. I appreciate that if this is all new to you, it might feel really, really overwhelming. And just try to do like little bits, the little bits that you can. Maybe it's just updating a profile, maybe it's just tweaking language. And dare I say it, chat can be incredibly helpful in helping you do these things. So for example, I copy and pasted all the content from my website the other day. I copied it in to chat and said that I want to improve the copy that's on all of these pages on my website to be more AI search friendly. And it's basically suggesting a whole rewrite of how I format and how I write the content on my website to be SEO, but also AI search friendly. So that's going to be something when I've got a bit of downtime. I'm going to do a little bit of work on that, just changing the formatting on my website a little bit. But chat did all of that for me. Otherwise, that's something I probably would have been blindly doing and not having a clue. So this is where I say, when I'm really passionate about how we can use this platform to help us, this is the kind of example that I mean, because that is the sort of thing that I probably previously would have been spending a lot of money investing in getting somebody to help me with it. Now I have a tool here that can explain it in a really, really easy, non-techie person, user-friendly way. So I am all for it. So you don't want to try and do absolutely everything at once. Just look for the things that you can do, the quick wins that you can do, and just start to tick things off the list sort of one at a time. AI is something that's going to continue to evolve. It's going to continue to grow. It's not going anywhere. So if you can just start to take little steps, kind of one at a time, to help you. And I would really encourage you, if you have been a bit avoidant of it or you've been feeling quite negative about it, maybe explore and look at what are the ways that potentially it could benefit you, especially if your clients are using it. You might want to get to know it a little bit. You might want to start to look at how potentially it might be able to support you, because if it can support you to do things more efficiently, to free up your time, to market your practice more efficiently, it can then help you to have more time to do the work that you're truly brilliant at, which is seeing your clients and serving them. So something I am playing about with is I have a Facebook group, but it's something that I haven't really been in or engaging in a very, very long time. I tend to hang out more on Instagram, and I just wasn't too sure when I have the Facebook group, what am I going to talk about in this group, or what am I going to do? And there's loads of other Facebook groups that are all about marketing and supporting your private practice. So I never really felt inspired or motivated around what I wanted to do in there. And then I had a bit of an aha moment in the bath, in case you're interested, sitting in the bath the other night. And I thought, I could make my Facebook group be all about chat. And I could do behind the scenes little videos and showing people and sharing how I use chat every day and how it makes my life a million times easier and how it helps me in my private practice. So that's what I'm toying with, and I think that I'm going to do. So if that's something that you're interested in, keep a little bit of an eye out on that. And I'm definitely going to do a workshop as well. I've already done a workshop that was sort of like an introduction to ChatGPT and how you can use it in your private practice. But I think I'm going to do a bit of an extension. And this workshop is going to be more specifically around the search and how to be more searchable. So a bit of an expansion on what I've talked about here today on the podcast. So also keep an eye out for that. It'll probably be in the next 4 weeks or so. I'll start to advertise that workshop. So I hope that this has been helpful for you today. Do come and check out my services if it's not something that you have done before. If you come on over to my website, which is www.prosperinprivatepractice, I have a monthly membership community, which is for counsellors and therapists to support them in all things private practice related. Inside there, I have loads of custom GPT tools, which are basically pre-trained tools to help make your life a million times easier. There are some fab tools in there that my members absolutely love. One of them being a blog writing GPT, and that's basically a little tool that they click on, and the GPT basically interviews them, asks about their niche, their location, the objective of the blog, whether they want SEO support with the keyword research, and it does it all and asks them a whole series of questions and then produces a draft of a really great SEO and AI optimized blog. Now, that is something that can be done. You could have a great blog written on your website within the space of an hour rather than potentially half a day or a full day. that you could have been doing that before. So those are all custom built tools that I've made inside the membership community. Or if you're interested in working with me one-to-one, you'll find some mentoring packages that are on there as well. So that's it for today, and I will come back and chat to you again soon. But for now, take care.